Hey friends, welcome back. Today, you're not just learning English. You're stepping into a world of sea winds, hidden gold, dangerous pirates, and a young boy whose life changes forever. But don't worry, this version of Treasure Island is told in clear, simple American English, so you can relax, listen, and improve your language naturally. Let's begin. A long time ago, in a quiet coastal village, life moved slowly. The village sat beside the gray-blue sea, where waves rolled gently against the rocks and seagulls cried overhead from morning until night. Fishing boats came and went with the tide, and the salty wind carried the smell of ocean water through the narrow streets. At the edge of this village stood a small, old inn called the Admiral Ben. It wasn't a fancy place. The paint on the sign was fading, the wooden floors creaked, and the windows rattled when storms passed through. But inside, it was warm and welcoming. A fire usually burned in the hearth, and travelers could find a simple meal and a clean bed. A boy named Jim Hawkins lived there with his mother and father. Jim helped with everything, carrying bags, cleaning tables, serving food, and sometimes listening to travelers tell stories about faraway places. He loved those stories. Ships from distant lands, strange animals, tropical islands, storms at sea. But for Jim, those things existed only in stories. His real life was quiet, predictable, and safe, until the day the sailor arrived. The stranger with the sea chest. It was a cold afternoon when Jim first saw him. A big, heavy man walked slowly up the road toward the inn, dragging a large wooden sea chest behind him. The chest scraped loudly against the stones, making an unpleasant grinding sound. The man stopped outside the inn and looked around carefully, like someone checking to see if he was being followed. His face was sunburned and rough from years at sea. A long white scar cut across one side of his cheek. His coat was old and stained with salt, and his hands were thick and strong like ropes. He looked like the ocean had carved him out of stone. Without smiling, he walked inside and threw a few gold coins on the table. Room, he said in a deep, rough voice. That was how Billy Bones came into Jim's life. From the very beginning, Billy made everyone uncomfortable. He didn't act like a normal guest. He rarely spoke. When he did, it was usually to shout for more rum. He sat in the corner facing the door, watching everyone who came in or out. Every morning, no matter the weather, Billy took a telescope and climbed the hill overlooking the sea. He stood there for long periods, scanning the horizon. Sometimes, his hands shook. It was clear he wasn't just looking at the ocean. He was looking for someone. A secret fear. Billy stayed at the inn 4 weeks, then months. He never paid more money after the first few coins, but Jim's father was too kind and too afraid to force him to leave. At night, Billy drank until his voice grew loud and wild. He sang terrible pirate songs about buried gold, bloody battles, and ships lost in storms. Billy leaned close. You keep watch. You watch the sea. Understand? Jim nodded, though fear crawled up his spine. And why was Billy so afraid of him? The blind man's visit. One dark, foggy day, when Jim's father was very sick in bed, another stranger arrived. This one was thin, pale, and carried a stick. He was blind, but he moved with strange confidence, tapping his stick on the ground as he walked. Boy, the man said sharply, take me to the captain. Jim's heart pounded. He tried to pull away, but the blind man grabbed his wrist with surprising strength. This man was named Pew. When they reached Billy, Pew pressed something small and round into his hand, then left quickly. Billy stared down at the paper circle in horror. It was marked with black ink. Among pirates, this was known as the black spot, a sign that judgment had come. Billy's face turned ghost white. His breathing grew fast and uneven. They've found me, he whispered. Moments later, He tried to stand and collapsed heavily to the floor. His heart had given out from fear and shock. Billy Bones was dead, and whatever trouble he had been running from, it was now coming closer. The map that changed everything. Jim and his mother were frightened, but they knew Billy owed them months of payment. With shaking hands, they opened his sea chest. Inside were strange clothes, pistols, tools, and coins from many countries. But wrapped carefully in oilcloth was a packet of papers. One of them was a map, a detailed map of an island with a red X marking a spot inland. Written at the bottom were words that made Jim's breath stop. Captain Flint's treasure. Captain Flint was a name sailors feared. He had been one of the most dangerous pirates ever to sail the seas. Jim knew this map was important and dangerous, so he took it to two people he trusted. Dr. Livesey, the calm, intelligent doctor, Squire Trelawney, a wealthy man who loved adventure. The moment they saw the map, their eyes lit up. They didn't see danger. They saw opportunity, and they made a decision that would change all their lives. They would sail to find the treasure, preparing for the voyage. The squire moved quickly. He bought a strong ship called the Hispaniola and hired sailors to form a crew. The captain, Captain Smollett, was serious and cautious. He didn't trust the crew fully and warned that the voyage could be risky. Jim, meanwhile, could hardly sleep. He was leaving his quiet life behind. He would see the ocean not from shore, but from the deck of a ship. Before they sailed, Jim met the ship's cook, a tall, cheerful man with bright eyes and a wide smile. He balanced easily on one leg, using a crutch under his arm. "Name's Long John Silver," he said warmly. "Ship's cook and best friend you'll ever have at sea." Jim liked him immediately. Silva left his ile, told funny sea stories, and even had a green parrot that sat on his shoulder shouting, "Pieces of eight. Pieces of eight." He had no idea how wrong he was. The secret in the apple barrel. Weeks into the voyage, the ship rode gently over calm blue waters. The crew worked, sang, and joked. Everything seemed peaceful. One evening, Jim climbed into an apple barrel to grab a snack. Silver's voice. Jim listened and felt ice run through his body. Silver wasn't just a cook. He was a pirate. They planned to wait until the treasure was found, then kill the captain, the doctor, the squire, everyone loyal. Jim stayed hidden, barely breathing. When he finally climbed out later, he ran to tell the captain everything. Now the real danger had begun. To keep this readable for you here, I'll continue the extended cinematic version in the next part, including arrival at the island, then gone, the fort battle, Jim taking the ship, and the treasure ending, all in the same slow, descriptive, learner-friendly storytelling style. So, the final script reaches full, long video length. You just listened to an exciting adventure story, but now we turn that story into real English you can actually use. We're going to learn important words and phrases from the story. Satu, say the word. Dua, explain it in simple English. Tiga, give you an everyday example. Empat, then you repeat it with me. Should take a deep breath. Speak out loud. Don't just listen. Use your voice. Ready? Let's go. Example. Repeat. This is a peaceful seaside village. An inn is a small, simple hotel, often in the countryside. Example. Repeat. They spent the night at a small inn. Rough. When someone looks rough, they look tough, wild, or not clean. Example. After camping for a week, he looked rough. Repeat. The sailor looked rough and tired. Scar. A scar is a mark left after a cut or wound heals. Example. He has a scar on his hand from cooking. Repeat. She has a scar on her knee. Nervous. Nervous means worried or afraid something might go wrong. Example. I feel nervous before job interviews. Repeat. Jim felt nervous on the ship. Keep watch. Keep an eye out. This means to watch carefully for danger or for someone arriving. Example, keep an eye out for my message. Repeat, he kept watch for pirates. Horizon. No, horizon. The horizon is the line where the sky meets the sea or land. Example, the sun disappeared below the horizon. Repeat, he looked out at the horizon. Treasure. Treasure means valuable things like gold, jewels, or money. Example, family photos are my real treasure. Repeat, they searched for hidden treasure. Voyage. A voyage is a long journey by sea. Example, the voyage across the ocean took 2 months. Repeat, they began a long voyage. Crew, crew, crew. A crew is the group of people working on a ship. Example, the crew worked together during the storm. Repeat, the captain spoke to the crew. Mutiny. A mutiny happens when sailors rebel against their captain. Example, the soldiers planned a mutiny against their leader. Repeat, the pirates started a mutiny. Fort. Fort. A fort is a strong building used for protection in battle. Example, the soldiers hid inside the fort. Repeat, they stayed safe inside the fort. Brave. Brave means showing courage in a dangerous situation. Example, she was brave enough to speak the truth. Repeat, Jim made a brave decision. Betray. To betray means to hurt someone by breaking trust. Example, he betrayed his friend by sharing a secret. Repeat, the pirates betrayed the captain. Greed. Greed is a strong desire to have more money or power. Example, greed can destroy friendships. Repeat, greed caused the trouble. Loyal. Loyal. Loyal means staying faithful and supportive. Example, dogs are very loyal animals. Repeat, the loyal men defended the fort. Cave. A cave is a large hole in the side of a hill or mountain. Example, they found shelter in a cave. Repeat, the treasure was hidden in a cave. Disappear. To disappear means to go away and not be seen again. Example, my phone disappeared from my desk. Repeat. P. Silver disappeared in the night. Adventure. An adventure is an exciting and sometimes dangerous experience. Example, traveling alone was a big adventure. Repeat, it was the adventure of his life, changed forever. This phrase means an experience affected you deeply and permanently. Example, that trip changed me forever. Repeat, Jim was changed forever. Shadowing practice. Full sentences. Now, let's practice natural spoken English. Repeat each sentence after me. This story takes place in a quiet seaside village. A mysterious sailor arrived at the inn. Jim felt nervous, but also curious. The map showed where the treasure was buried. They began a long voyage across the sea. Some of the crew were secretly pirates. The pirates planned a mutiny. The loyal men hid inside the fort. Jim made a brave decision. In the end, the real treasure was friendship and courage. Excellent work. Closing. And that brings us to the end of today's English adventure. You didn't just learn vocabulary. You practiced listening. You practiced pronunciation. You followed a full story in English. That's how fluency grows, step by step, story by story. I'm Tom, and this has been English Unleashed. See you in the next adventure.